Hello and welcome back. Today I want us to think about where we are or where we work, where we live, where our neighborhood, our community, where we do our businesses, where we go to church, and think, why are we there? Could it be we are there on a certain assignment that we've never realized? Could it be God placed to where you are for a reason, but it has never occurred to you? Maybe there is so much mishandling, mistreatment in your place of work, and you just keep quiet like any other person, and you know you have a voice, and you know there is something you can do about it, and you are the one people are looking upon. People tell you, go and speak for us, go and, go as our voice and complain to the office MP and see it's not happening, and you are just casually there and doing nothing about it. And today I want us to look maybe a life of somebody who was placed by God somewhere for a reason. A time as that you are called for, a time such as this. Why are you called? Why are you there in time as this time, as whatever is happening around that company is happening? What is your mission there? And today our reference story will come from the book of Esther, and we'll be reading Esther 4, and we'll see how God used Esther to save the life of Jews. They had just come back from this guy, this Nebuchadnezzar guy. They had been kidnapped and they are back, but now they are in Susa, and let's see what happens. And at this time, for one reason or the other, when God wants to use you, things don't just happen. God has a way of doing things. He has a way of planning things. And you'll see when God wants you to maybe a deliverer or He wants to send you somewhere, He always makes sure things are working. There's no like misalignment. Things are aligning for Him or for the mission that He wants to send you. And so we see now after Esther and his uncle and the other people who came back from Babylon, they are in this place, in this Susa, and by good luck or bad luck, there was that story where King Vashti has refused to dance with the king, and she was removed from being the queen. And at that particular time, when the Mordecai is there with her cousin Esther, it was announced that all the girls should go to the palace, and they had to choose. I think they had to choose a new king from those girls. And God, because He's God, He'll always work things out. It happened that Esther was chosen to be the queen, and the one says the place where the one says that I'm not reading all of it because I want to concentrate more on the work that Esther did. There is a verse in Esther verse 2 verse 17 which says, "Now the king was attracted to Esther more than any of the other women, and she won his favor and approval more than any of the other virgins. So he set a royal crown on her hand and made her a queen instead of Vashti." At that particular time, now we know it's a long story. They went, there are so many things that were done to them. But as I'm reading now, Esther now is officially the queen. And so now we'll see now, at that particular when she's the queen now, that is when all these things, whatever God wants her to do, she'll do it now. Now she's already in the throne, she's already in the palace, whereby it will be easier for her to talk to the king compared when she was outside just like another woman. And at this particular time, there's this guy called Haman who thought these people who have come, he's saying, I think they are like a nuisance. The one says that the Haman said to King Selex, there's a certain people dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom who keep themselves separate. You see, now Haman has pinpointed these Jews because he had a beef with Mordecai, and now he wants now to everyone who is a Jew. They had just come from the captivity. They are back, but now this Mordecai guy doesn't want. Haman. He doesn't want them, and no, he wants them killed. And so what happens now? This Haman guy tells the king, there should be letters should be written, and they should be killed. It is saying that it is not the king's best interest to read them. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I will give. I think was supposed to give something in return, and the letter is written, and it is delivered. And on verse 13, the same now, verse 3, verse 13, the one says that dispatches were sent by couriers to all the king's provinces with the order to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews. So now the letter has been sent out. Now this is work of Haman. Now he wants all the Jews killed. And so what happens is that now as the letters are being dispatched, of course they are being read, and there will be whales, there will be crying because, they are to be killed. This is not, and the letter has the stamp of the king, and the one says that to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children on a single day. That's in the day of the 12th of the month of Adar, and to plunder their goods. It is like it's a done deal. Guys, you'll be dying on this particular day, so prepare for your death. And of course, when they heard that, they started crying. They started, like, of course, they will be wearing, and they have to think Mordecai, now him being the one who maybe like was some of the leader of those people who had come from captivity. He had to do something very fast. And maybe what came in his mind is, wow, yes, my cousin is Esther is in the palace. She will help us, because this Haman guy is also he works with the king. Is very close. He's like in the inner circle of the king. So, and Esther now is the queen. So Esther will intercede, and Esther will speak to the king on our behalf so that we can be saved. And we see Esther, Mordecai goes to the gate. He prints and he started crying. They have sackcloth, and Esther is wondering what is happening, and there is up to and fro information, and it is not easy even for Esther. As the one says, Esther is also afraid. Remember, she has just become the queen, and now Mordecai wanted Esther to go and before the king and tell him what is happening. He needs his help. And Esther is saying that, as Esther is then instructing him to say, all the king's official and the people of loyal provinces know that if any man or a woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned, the king has but one law, that they be put to death unless the king extends a gold scepter to them and spare their lives. But that days have passed. I was called to go to the king. You see, there is a law that says you cannot just go and enter in the king's palace. You cannot just go and enter in the king's in a room, that in a space. You have to be called. And now there is something that is emergency. It doesn't have all the time. It has a time frame. They don't have all the time to it until when Esther will be called by the king, and they don't know when that will be. And so when that happened, when Esther sent that word back to Mordecai, Mordecai cannot understand this. Esther, you are inside. You are with the king. What are you trying to tell us? What about us who are here? You think, us, we are far worse than you. But if they are killing all the Jews, Esther, you will not be safe either. You have a chance to speak or to keep quiet. And we see Esther, when Esther once was sent back to Mordecai, it is not, the environment is not so good, because this is what Mordecai said back to Esther. For if you, and he's telling her, do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. However, even you will not escape, Esther. So don't think that if you don't go there because you are afraid the king might kill you, you know, you escape when they start killing there. So it's better you go try and fail or try, instead of just keeping quiet and waiting for it to just to happen what it will happen. And so the Mordecai tells us that, for if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance of the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your loyal position for such a time as this? Who knows, Esther? Who knows, mother? Who knows why are you there at such a time as this? What is happening in that where you work, that company? What is happening around in your community? What is happening in your home, that God has given you a voice as time as this so that you can stand? Maybe God has given you a chance in a place you never thought possible. But there are things that are happening there that need to be corrected. There is somebody who needs to stand and say, this one is wrong, this, whatever you are doing to the workers, whatever you are doing to the neighbors, it is not right. You are there for such a time because maybe God has assignment for you. There is something that God wants you to do. And it doesn't matter that it will be easier. For Esther, she is saying she can be killed. But what will she do? Because everyone is looking upon her to save them. And now you are telling them, yes, I'm inside, but I can be killed by going to go being killed. And then you will know there is no help there. But you cannot sit back and say, I am afraid of taking the first. Go take the first steps. And the beauty of taking the first steps, when you start moving, God moves with you. And we see what now when the message came back, Esther says that, then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai: go gather all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat and drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I'll go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. But the beauty now, you see, one thing that they have done, you have to know they have recognized God. Esther knows she cannot do this by her own. She needs favor from God so that she can be able to stand before the king and tell him everything that is happening. And so when when you find something like this, when such a thing happens in your life, the best way to do is first acknowledge God. Acknowledge you cannot do it on your own. You need God. You need God's intervention. You need prayer. You need to pray even for yourself and even for the one whom you are going to talk to. You need wisdom. God, help me to talk to this man. Help me to talk to this office. Help me to talk to this neighbor. Help me to talk to this man who is battering her wife, but you have to do something. You cannot just keep quiet. Yes, go afraid. Esther went afraid. He was really afraid, but she had to do it because she was the only one who was so close to the king. Remember, she's the queen and he's the king. So it means she's so close to the queen, to the king. So she has the high possibility of the king listening to her. And yet still, now that they have brought God in, they have told God, we cannot do without you, sir. We need your help. We need your intervention. The words that I will speak, let it be your words, arrange them for me, make them such that if I speak to the king, he will listen to me. And so this morning, I'm urging you, if you are pressed in somewhere, If you are priest and there is a problem, there are chaos, recognize there's something called God's timing, and you are not there by mistake. God put you there for a reason. Maybe there's something that needs to stop. There's something that is not there that needs to be done. You are the voice. Don't let God go look for somebody else to come and do the task that you have the power and the capability of doing. But since you are afraid, you are letting the fear to hold you back. So look around in your office, look around in your village, look around in your business. What is it that it is not going well? What is it that God has called you to do? Wake up and do it. Because if you don't do it, just like the way Mordecai told Esther, if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. And I'm telling you the same. If it's something that assignment that God has given you and you don't wake up to, to do it, God will send help. Because if it's somebody who needs help, God will send help from another place. But you, what will happen? And God had put you there for a reason. So when it comes to working with God, knowing the God times and also being obedient is of paramount importance, because when you obey, by maybe by just Esther and crying, yes, I will go to see the king. God now started giving her the energy. God gave her the courage. God will give her the words that He's supposed to speak. It is not about you to think, what would I go? Ask God to guide you. If I've sent you there, He will provide everything that you need. But you have to wake up and start moving. You have to wake up and start whatever it is that you need to write, whether it's emails or it's morning, memorandum, whatever it is that you need to do. Wake up and do it. Whoever is in trouble is trusting in you. It's counting on your help. So wake up, use that voice that God gave you, use it wisely for such a time as this. God bless you so much. And remember to subscribe. See you next time.